Yeah. Look out your window. Knicks fans is on your block. Y'all know the Knicks run the city. Pull them shades back. Look out your window. Look down there on the block. That's Knicks fans right there. It's about that time. It's about that time of the week where you get ready for your work week with the man that is so smooth he does not require a chaser. Your main man, the real Anthony D, and your main man, Jersey's finest, the hood representative, Uncle Freezy.
Boom, boom, boom.
Dopest intro in the
game. Absolutely.
Dopest intro.
It just feels like Sunday cruising. Right. What's going on? Salute,
sir.
Salute Nation. Salute the Knick Nation. Thanks for joining us again.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely, sir. What's going on, Uncle Freezy? Where we at with it?
I feel like we at that spot, bro.
We always at that spot. Like we was talking before the show started. We, in our music bag as we were. And as soon as you threw on the intro, I started singing Al Jarreau again. Somehow we fly. No, Al Jarreau was that dude, man. He had a moment where it looked like he was gonna really take off in the mainstream, and then I guess he did have his mainstream moment, I guess, for a little bit.
He reminds me of, in that same vein that you were saying, of being a jazz person, being on the cusp of just breaking out, being like megastar, kind of. Right. Mm-hmm. It kind of reminds me of Layla Hathaway, like just right there. And maybe if she just put out one more album, it'd just be like take off and be out of here. Or like Patrice Rushen. Like Patrice Rushen is like right on the cusp of, and then
it's always that way, you know what I mean? And we when we look back at their, fortunately, we see some of these shows be behind the music or whatever, and we look back at their careers and we peel back that, that music game, that entertainment game. It's not an easy game. Like look what's going on today with Diddy. You know what I mean? It's just not an easy game. And us as fans, we get caught up into it. And I tell people all the time with fame and celebrities and stuff, these are people we know through a third party device.
Right.
99.9% of the times.
Right.
And we don't know how hard it is to get there and to be there at the top levels and so forth.
Right.
So it's easy to form opinions based on what? Can't stop, won't stop. That's basically where you forming your opinion from, because you ain't never been to none of them parties.
Right now, we ain't going. You know
what I mean? You ain't never been to none. You know what I mean? You ain't never. But sometimes it's the politicking that helps you go up or down in your career.
Right.
And that's just the truth of it.
And it's sad too, man.
It's absolutely sad.
Because it's not even about merit. It's not even about merit. It's what you'll do in order to get fame. Right? Yeah.
Bobby Caldwell, what you won't do for love.
You'll try everything.
You'll try everything.
But you won't give up.
Yeah,
man.
You know what I mean? Shout out to the great late Bobby Caldwell.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Bro, I heard just real quick, man. I heard Sarah Smile the other day. And I think Sarah Smile might be Sarah Smile is up there, bro.
Dude, it's the way how it started. Get that little melancholy.
Yeah.
And then he just floats on from there.
Yeah.
Why don't you smile and love for me, Sarah?
like,
You
oh my,
you can interchange that name whoever you see it. You know, you can
yeah.
slide that name in there.
You can call it Brenda Smile. You can
You
call
know
it
what I
Keisha
mean?
Smile.
You
Yeah.
can call it whatever. Slide a new name in there, and
Evelyn
boom,
Smile. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it works. It
Yeah, man.
absolutely works. All in all, it absolutely works.
Yeah, bro,
Timeless.
you can tell he's speaking to her soul. I'm looking at the lyrics right now, and the
Hmm.
lyrics start off with baby hair with a woman's eyes. I can feel you watching in the night, all alone with me, and we're waiting for the sunlight. When I feel cold, you warm me. And when I feel I can't go on, you come and hold me. It's you and me
Forever.
forever. Well, you say that to a girl, bro. You what? What?
They're coming down.
Yeah.
They're coming down.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh my.
Absolutely.
Oh, by themselves. No help. How
Shut
did
up,
they get up
Colin.
out of hamper? Yeah, by themselves. Yeah.
It's a lot of night. I mean, to to sit there and create those types of lyrics. Where are you pulling from? You know where you're pulling from. The
Yeah, man.
individual that's probably sitting like 10 feet from you, warm and soft, and you
Right.
know
And
where you pulling from.
bro,
Where you getting that inspiration?
bro, I'm looking at the second verse. The second verse says, "If you feel like leaving, you know you can go, but why don't you stay until
Until
tomorrow?
tomorrow.
If you want to be free, you know all you got to do is say no. And when you feel cold, I'll warm you. And when you feel you can't go on, I'll come and hold you. Is you and me forever."
Forever.
Bro, so you see how he flipped it? In the first verse, in
That's
the first
it.
verse is one thing. The second verse is another thing. He's like, yo, this man is so vulnerable. He
And
like,
it still comes back to is me and you forever.
yeah, yeah,
You're not
yeah.
getting joints. You're not getting that kind of creative music
Nah, you ain't getting that kind of music.
anymore. You're
Nah.
just not, because the industry and so much, it just stifled, what artists just want to do. Or if it's there, and a lot of shout out to a lot of artists that, Ben Old, Uncle Soul, and some of these people that don't get the shines and so forth. Because when I go on places like Spotify, and like I said, I think we mentioned this before in the show, you could just type in the genre or whatever, and you could roll on, and find people that you're not going to hear in the regular mainstreams of today. So shout out to those people. Good music
Shout
still be good music. We just need more of it.
Right, right.
You
No
know,
doubt, no doubt,
absolutely.
no doubt. I got a thing. Speaking of heartbreak, I have a thing that I wanted to mention to you, and I hate to do it to my Knicks fans,
Oh boy.
but I have to. AD, you know how it seems like when everything is going right and you finally are headed in the right direction, and then something happens, right? You legit think it's your turn to win a championship, and then something happens, right? Like if you're a Jets fan, right? If you're a Jets fan,
Oh
you
dear
think,
God.
yo, we
Pray for this man,
finally
Lord.
we finally got a quarterback. He's proven he's been doing this thing for 15 years.
Wow.
And then the Sunday night intro theme come on, and it's football night in America. And then you see a guy running out there with the American flag. And as a Jets fan, you like, yo, this can't get no better, right? And then 4 plays into it,
Mm, mm,
your
mm.
your season is over, right? And it's not just and Jets fans. Listen, I'm not picking on y'all. I'm not picking on y'all, right?
Yes, you are.
But if you're a Knicks fan and you have a month that you're like 15-2 in the month at the end of the month, right? You're like, oh, this can't get no better right here. If Randall and OG and Brunson, bro, this right here, and then January 27th happens, and it'll be a day I never forget, bro. And then January 27th happens, and Julius Randle's shoulder is sticking out like a third arm, right? Julius Randle's Julius Randle's shoulder is sticking out like a rhinoceros horn, right? And in real time, you're like, oh God, he out for the season, right? But then the rumors are, hey, well, he can rehab it, pop it back in places. And at the time, I'm like, no, this ain't good. This ain't good, right? And then a game later, you're like, well, OG Anunoby is a game time decision. Yeah, he missed this game. He'll be back for the next game. He a game time decision, right? And then the trade deadline comes. You trade for Alec Burks and Bogey, and the news that is slid in under that is OG Anunoby just had elbow surgery. He's out 6 to 8 weeks. And you're like, this is like that Aaron Rodgers Sunday Night Football thing, right? Or if you're a Mets fan, you're like, yo, we lost the World Series. Our pitching staff was just too young, right? So what we'll do is we'll get Matt Harvey. So if you're a Mets fan, you're like, well, all we got to do is get Matt Harvey to rehab, and then we'll be all right. But then Jacob deGrom is hurt, and then Noah Syndergaard is hurt, right? And then your best pitcher is Steven Matz out of all the young pitchers that you have, and then Travis d'Arnaud gets hurt, right? And then Cespedes is hurt doing cattle ranching. And you're like, bro, we was just in the World Series. Why is all this stuff happening to us? And what I realized is New York, if you're a New York sports fan, this happens more often than we think, right? I give it, okay. Yankees, y'all think y'all are exempt from this conversation? So the Yankees go win the World Series, right? And then the next thing you know, Jacoby Ellsbury is hurt, fumbling the ball in center field, right? Everybody's getting hurt, right? Then Jacoby Ellsbury misses 2 full seasons with injuries, and everybody that you bring in, thank you, boss. Everybody that you bring in is getting hurt, and you can't figure it out. And then on top of all of that, you're like, you know what? We won't depend on them. We'll just play team ball. So you go get Anthony Rizzo, and Anthony Rizzo reaches for a ball at first place and concussion. And then we're thinking, like, is there a dark cloud over New York City? Is that what this is about? Right? Is that what this is about? Every time we see a little bit of promise, every time we think Saquon Barkley is about to break out, he gets hurt. Right? Just when Daniel Jones started to figure it out, he tears an ACL. Right? It makes me think, AD, like, is this a New York thing? Is this some type of overreaction, or is this a real thing?
Did you really say when Daniel Jones was about to break out?
Yeah, I did. I had to throw some shade at the Yankees and the Yankees and Giants fans, bro. I had to throw some shade at them.
Yo, that would remind me of that Sunday night game. I think it was against Philly, where he did break out, and he goes on like a run by himself,
right?
And the seas parted.
Right.
And no one is in the picture, and Daniel Jones trips at the 5-yard line and falls like 2 yards short of the end zone.
Like,
and nobody touched him.
Nobody touched him, bro. Yo, you can't make it up, bro. You legit can't make it up.
You can't make that shit up.
You tried everything, but you won't give up.
I mean, so there's levels to this. I'm sure you had a lot of people rocking with you until you threw in the Daniel Jones and like, nah.
Yeah. Ooh.
There's some levels. I think you're missing a couple of levels there. And I get it. It feels like it. But Freezy, you just got to persevere, man. If you believe in things that go bump in the night, things will go bump in the night.
If you believe in things that you can't understand, you're very superstitious.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. Or what about the Knicks being having a terrible roster, but having one great player, and that one great player is lifting the organization to what we think could be a trip to the promised land, and then he's chasing a dude down on defense and just collapse to the floor. And it'd be a day you never forget. That one play gets you Patrick Ewing, in theory.
And in theory, yeah, but it's not the bump in the night. It's you've exhausted that player to, something like that could happen.
Right.
You've used him. I mean, he's everything.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying? He's everything. He's not like a Randall who gets hurt and he gets hurt and then the ship dives.
Right.
Once Bernard got hurt, you were in the lottery
Yep.
for a couple of years.
Right.
Not just the one.
Right.
See, people forget that. It wasn't just the 1 year that he got hurt and you got Ewing. No, you were in the lottery that following year and the year after that.
Yep. Yep. Usually when you go to the lottery, you're going to be there for a minute. Usually. Yeah, usually if you go to the lottery, you're going to be there.
Especially if you don't know what you're doing.
Right. Plus Houston. Bro, you remember how bad Houston was tanking during those years? Remember Houston wouldn't even put quality NBA players on the floor? They were the original trust the process.
That's why you had to have the lottery.
You had to have the lottery because Houston was going to get the number one pick every year.
Yeah.
I mean,
they were the original Philly. They were just like, yo, bump that. Said Sampson ain't good enough. You know what? We need something else the following year. And to be honest with you, that takes people in your organization who recognizes talent, like the future and where it's going.
Right.
Because they're like, Sampson isn't enough to take us where we want to go. We need more.
Right.
And he was already, you didn't know if he was going to be brittle or not. This is pre-brittle stage or whatever, but he wasn't enough to take you to past the Lakers. You still needed more. So they tank again. And in the following draft, whether they got Elijah on or not, look who's in the following draft.
Yep.
You could have put Barkley right there.
Yep. Yeah.
You could have put Jordan right there. And you see what I'm saying? Like it takes, forward thinking to realize that we're not where we need to be. We still need to be in the draft. No one is trading us their superstar. This is the only way we're going to be able to pluck it.
Right.
Yeah. See, but that's not bumping the night. That's, people making aggressive decisions about the future of their organization. That's what Houston did. That's what San Antonio did with help from the league.
Right. Bro, I'm so frustrated.
It's just who you entrust in your organization to make it not be a bump in the night.
Right.
When you draft a Porzingis and in less than 5 years he's out the door for Is that bump in the night? Is that no? It's bad organization.
It's
bad people entrusted. That's not something you'd be like, wow, we're just so unlucky.
Maybe not. We just make bad decisions.
Yeah, just make bad decisions. Who told Isaiah to draft Ronaldo? Balkman. Ronaldo Balkman overall with the overall pick number one pick that year. What was it? 2005, six.
Over Rajon Rondo. Yeah, how you gonna take him over Rajon Rondo, bro? Yeah,
Man,
I don't get it, man. I don't get it. I think though.
so I don't believe in it. I don't believe in that. If you're the Cubs for half a century and better, whatever, yeah, you want to, okay. But us here in this part of town area, no, we've just put people in bad positions.
Right.
We've entrusted people to make decisions that they double down. Like if you listen to Isaiah talk about the Eddie Curry trade, he would do it today.
Yeah. But and his line of thinking, like in that moment, I don't know if he was wrong about making the trade. I think he was wrong about the talent that he evaluated on the roster. That's where I think he made his misstep. I think he overvalued what he already had and thought by adding Curry that all of it would click. Right.
Here's the problem with that, Freezy. Look at what you already had. Okay. You had Marbury and Crawford here. When you bring in, and even before that or after that, you'd already signed Jerome James.
Oh my God.
Okay. You'd already signed Jerome James. The ink ain't even dry yet.
Ain't he the one that you saw at Sylvia's with like
Yes.
five tables of food?
Yes.
Oh my God.
And after you sign Jerome James, then you take your ass up to Chicago and you trade for Eddie Curry.
Right.
In what world was a front court of Eddie Curry and Jerome James going to work? How?
I don't know. I don't know. And Eddie Curry wound up winning a ring with the Miami Heat, which frustrated me. That man legit was on the Heat roster and won a ring. They found Eddie Curry at like 400 pounds and got him down to like 280, like 208. And when you saw him at 280, you was like, "Dang, that dude looks skinny."
I just heard he was on the team. I don't think I ever really saw footage of him playing.
Yeah, I
when he
saw.
was in Miami.
Yeah, I saw a picture. You know, I used to play video games, and I saw the picture. I saw the picture of him on Miami. But anyways, what I'm getting at, man, I know if you believe in things that you can't understand, you're very superstitious. I understand that. But man, the Knicks were cruising. So man, we were cruising, bro. And then for key pieces to get hurt like that, it make you think that maybe there are other factors in play outside of, you know.
No,
Maybe.
I'm not willing to feed into it. I just think
Right.
you got to keep pushing.
Keep plugging away. Yeah.
You got to keep plugging away. You got to keep, it's a part of sports. These things happen. It's our turn now,
Right.
with what has happened, but it's where do you go from there? Remember,
Right.
the Knicks tore down a 54 game winning team.
Right.
And their solution to that was Bayani.
Their solution to that, for those that don't remember exactly, their solution to that was Greg Monroe. And Leon Rose didn't want Greg Monroe to go to New York. So he got on the phone to get Andrea Bargnani to New York. Right. And even if we would have got Greg Monroe, it's still the same thing, bro. We needed Melo at the 4. That's what we needed. We needed an athletic 3, right? We needed a everybody was moving their big threes to the 4. right? Sean Marion wound up moving to small forward. I mean to power forward. I'm sorry. I mean, a lot of people started playing power forward post up minutes, right? And so instead of us going out and getting a three, which I don't know why we're allergic to athletic threes, we went out and got Andrea Bargnani, and he came here and tried to
which
dunk from the 3 point line.
which just made no sense.
No, no.
See, the year prior to that, they got all of the experienced vets and old guys and da 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 da. We know what happened, right? They were all on
Got Rashid out of retirement. Remember Rashid?
right. Yeah,
Rashid had retired and came back.
3 to the dome, Rashid. Right, he started all that nonsense, right?
Yep.
And there was all on 1 year contracts and all of that. The following year, pretty much the deck was cleared.
We had a blank slate. Yeah.
Pretty much outside of Melo, Ray Felt, Schumbert, Tyson Chandler.
That's the year we bought out Stoudemire, right? Stoudemire had like a year and a half left, and we bought him out.
No, Stoudemire was still there the year after, but he was hurt with the.
He was hurt.
He was about to start the whole. He's
bathing in wine,
and all this nonsense. Right,
playing in Israel. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So Jason Kidd and all those. Remember, Kidd then gets the coaching job with Brooklyn.
Yeah.
The deck was cleared. They bring in Bayani, and Bayani was like, immediately the team went.
Yep. And then the thing about it is the Knicks got rid of a couple of players that we liked, and I'm not saying they were great, but Landry Fields, people call him a bum, right? But but he was a second round pick that could knock down the three, athletic, and defend. And we were so thirsty for talent, we thought Landry Fields was going to come in and be Jordan. If we just recognized what he was, a second round pick, right? That all we needed from him was defense and spot up 3-point shooting. But our roster was so flawed that we needed him to be more than he was capable of. Like, you remember when we found Chris Copeland? Remember Chris Copeland?
Yeah.
Off the street. We got off a 26-year-old off the street. He came in, knocked down shots and all of that. And then we started wanting him to be more than he really was.
But Copeland, I'm glad you made that comparison, because Copeland and Fields are basically the same things as far as when they got minutes, they played well enough for another team to want to throw a poison pill.
To value them, yeah.
To really value them, because I think it was Toronto at the time that came in and gave Landry Fields, at that time, the contract just seemed like they gave him like a 4-year, $28 million deal or something. It was like, nah, hell no, we ain't doing that. No, we ain't doing that. Like you, Landry, nice. All of that, but we weren't going to do that. And Copeland was the same thing. I think Indiana signed him.
Indiana gave him the bag.
Yeah, Indiana gave him the bag. So it was one of those things where I couldn't be mad at the Knicks. Those weren't pieces that you sacrifice major cap space for. No.
But where I was frustrated with them is you had them all season and you could have extended them, but you chose to let this thing play out in the summer. Like, oh man, we New York, man. We could offer them the most money. Everybody loved New York. No, not back then, bro. Everybody didn't love the Knicks back then. Back then, we were a moribund type franchise where things had to be perfect in order for somebody to come to New York.
You're right, Freezy. But here's the thing with that.
And I hate being right about that, by the way.
No, you're right. But here's the thing with that. You could pick up a Landry Fields and a Copeland anywhere.
Right.
They're not that significant that you have to, like, damn, they went to the enemy.
Right.
It should be more like, damn, we didn't do even better when they left.
Right.
Like we didn't get something that was definitely better when they left. Like it's like a bit obvious because what they did, they had a solid contribution in a small window.
Right. But my thing is my thing with that AD is I understand that you're right. Right. Let me first state that's a brilliant take. I think you're absolutely right. But my thing is though, is after that they couldn't find Landry Fields type players anymore. They couldn't find Chris Copeland type. Remember Ricky Leto? Ricky Leto was supposed to be the Landry Fields replacement, bro. Remember him and Sergio Rodriguez and Pablo Prigioni and all them dudes. Remember the crew that wouldn't pass to Melo. Remember the dudes off the bench that was Alexei Shved and all those dudes. They wouldn't pass the ball to Melo. Right? Nobody remember this. They would jock Melo out. It was to a point
They were
where
in love. That management core, they had some European scouting over there that they were in love
Travis
with.
Ware.
Yeah, they were in. Oh my God,
Jeremy Tyler. You remember Jeremy Tyler?
they were in love with these
Anthony Randolph.
Yeah, these Euro step type of guys. Well, Randolph just wasn't, to be fair to Randolph, I always go back to that interview with D'Antoni when D'Antoni said he just wasn't gonna play him because the productivity that was needed, he couldn't take the chance when basically was saying when your job is on the line.
Right.
And if you remember, Anthony Randolph, I think he was like wasn't he rookie of the year
He was like the
before?
number 2 pick in the draft or something.
Yeah, or he was high. He was a high pick,
Golden
and
State drafted him high.
Yeah, he was a high pick, and it looked like we were getting something in that trade. Like, wow, this is something worth taking a look at, and we never saw it.
We never. Yeah,
It's like that Christmas gift that was just in the box under the tree.
Yeah,
you thought it was yours, but it was for Aunt Rudolph from England.
It was Aunt Beverly. Somebody bought Aunt Beverly some more isotoners.
You know what I mean?
Isotoners, bro.
Isotope. Oh wow, the gloves.
Yeah. Somebody bought Aunt Bev some more isotoners,
and that was it.
Yeah,
that was it. That was Randolph.
Yeah, I just boiled it down to as simple as this: that man couldn't walk and chew bubble gum at the same time. That was just it. Because even though he can dunk, that man could dunk on a crowd of 3 people, but he had to catch the basketball first. You know what I'm saying? If you can't catch the basketball, you can't dunk.
It's like when you get him in your gym, versus when you seen him on tape. It's like, yo, did you know that this dude right here can't? He's scared of contact.
Yeah, this dude was, and then the thing about him is his handles for a man his size were elite, bro. I mean, you're like, yo, if Anthony Randolph ever get in the ISO against another power forward, he dunking, right? But the thing is when he by himself, he fumbling rebound. You fumbling rebounds by yourself?
When he got here, he looked like JaVale McGee.
Oh,
for the little bit of time that we saw him, it was like JaVale McGee.
We had him and Jeremy Tyler. That was the most athletic front court we might.
And I want to be fair to him, though. Not to attach, the JaVale label on him because we didn't see him that much. We only saw him like
Yep.
That was it.
You don't want to attach the Spencer Haywood thing to him.
I don't think I don't think there's footage of Anthony Randolph in our uniform.
Yeah.
Keep it a buck. I don't think there's footage of Randolph in our uniform.
I saw.
They probably got it, but we don't.
But yeah, that's the time frame where it was Anthony Randolph, Ricky Leto, Alexei Shved, Travis Ware, a bunch of the dude from Wichita State. What's the dude name? Got shot in the nightclub.
Oh,
him. Yeah.
He got shot in the club over here.
He got shot in the club in Brooklyn.
Yeah, the Knicks drafted him over Joker. Think about that. Think about that. Think about that. The Knicks drafted that dude over Joker.
Clee Anthony early.
Clee Anthony early.
And
Too early.
then, yes, yes. And then after drafting Clee Anthony early, they miss on a couple of picks, and then they draft Giannis's brother in the same
Yes.
draft.
Yes.
And you're like, oh my God. And Knicks fans, we were on Twitter. Knicks fans was like, the only reason why they drafted his brother is because we're going to get Giannis. And I'm like, bro, this can't be the storyline for everything that we do, bro.
No, but I'm going to keep it a buck with you, though. I'd have, greased his stay here. At the very least, when Giannis, when Freak asks him, how's it over? He's like, yeah, it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. They treat me well. They say very nice things about you.
Right.
There's maybe someplace. There's maybe someplace we can look at. Because other than that, Freezy, why the hell do I have him? And if I have him, I'm gonna act like I don't know that's Greek's brother.
Right. Right. It's the same thing with Ryan Arcidiacono. Remember, the first Nova Boy was really Ryan Arcidiacono in 2022. Right? Remember, we gave him like all those 10-day contracts. And he wasn't here to play. He was just here scouting. That's all it was. He was hey man, man, we can come in here and take over, bro. That's
things done changed.
Yeah.
It's not what I heard it was.
You remember Kuzminskis? Man, I thought Kuzminskis was gonna be something, bro. I thought he was Peja Stojakovic, bro.
He did have some skills.
Yeah.
But he's another one. He fit in that, those kind of guys that they were getting in, and it was pathetic.
Woodson out here talking about defense. Why are you asking a offensively skilled offensive hub player? You got to earn your minutes. You got to play defense. Man, relax, bro. You playing defense and we still losing? You gotta relax, man. How about check some of the talent that you have? How about stop putting Ron Baker on Anthony Davis? How about that?
How about not signing Ron Baker to a guaranteed 2-year deal? How about that?
Oh my God.
How about that? You see, Freezy, here's part of the narrative that I never bought, right? That players don't want to come to New York, because that was the narrative for a long, long time, right? But here's the flip side of that. If you hire the best talent evaluators, more times than not, they're going to hit on talent that you could procure.
Yeah.
And that wasn't happening. You see, you can't name in that time frame of 2000 and this is after Melo, right? So 2015 to 2000 and what? 21, 22?
Okay.
To quickly.
Right.
You could say from then to quickly, the Knicks hadn't drafted anybody worth mentioning.
Right.
That's 7 years, Freezy.
Frank, Dotson, yeah, RJ, Iggy Brasdakis. Yeah.
I forgot RJ, so you could throw 6 years. You could throw RJ. RJ's the one, and then quickly the next. But that's 2 guys, in a 7-8 years. How? No organization can build anything like that when you have none of your draft picks to show for it.
Yep.
You got all these cast-offs. At one point, they had 4 first-round picks in the same draft on the team.
Yeah.
So that's not misfortune. That's bad management.
That's not sustainable. You can't live like that.
It's pathetic management.
Yeah, you can't live like that, man. But I get it. I don't want to blame Phil Jackson or the Phil Jackson era. What I will do though is point out that some of the moves that we made were unfortunate, And some of the moves that we made were really good moves. We just wasn't patient long. Like for instance, when we signed CJ Leslie to the 10-day, to the G League, the only thing CJ Leslie was missing was handles. That's it. And listen, everybody's like, but he a 6'8" guard and he can't handle. And but y'all had Flight White on the roster, and that was
Yeah,
never an issue.
yeah, but Fiji, I'm not gonna give you that with that gloss over. You can't blame Phil stuff because here it is, Freezy. When you hire a man with that kind of a decorated resume, okay, he's supposed to be the piper,
Right.
right?
Right.
Guys are supposed to, at the very least, want to hear what he has to say because who else knows how to win championships like him that was out there at that time or at any time? He's been associated with double-digit championship rings. And when he came here, Freezy, that's not what it was. He stripped down what was a team that was in a playoff team with a star level talent,
Right.
and then while doing so, he's taking shots at some of the best talent that there ever was. That's not even a part of your organization.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's muddying up the field all the way around.
All the way.
Whatever we may think about LeBron, or don't let me lump you in my association.
He the GOAT.
You know, the young cats of today, if they see you taking shots at LeBron, they perk up.
Right.
He they guy.
Yeah, he our guy. I'm glad you agree.
Yeah. So how are you going to attract guys to want to come here if they feel like, yo, you don't respect LeBron?
Right.
And what LeBron is about.
Right. No, I agree.
Why would you do that? They had videotape of the man sleeping on the job.
Yo, and not only sleep, bro. That man, he was out, bro. That man, you know, sometimes they overwhelm you, and you just like. Phil Jackson was feet stretched out, hands crossed on his stomach, head back sleep. Like, Phil, come on, bro. What are you doing?
Come on. What are we doing?
And then after that, they caught him again sleep on the train. Remember that? Remember he was asleep on the train?
In New York.
Yes, crazy.
Not today. Not today's New York, I guarantee you that. They'd have found him stretched out. Found him stretched out. For real.
Yeah, man.
No, sir. But so I like all of those things are on his record. See what I'm saying? And then some.
Yeah.
And then some. You know, so it's not. It's by accident or, you know, wow, how come these things always happen to us? No, it's by design.
Knicks fans will say that the NBA hates us.
When it comes to big decision makings in games and stuff like that, I can see where fans can have that because they're documented things. They're things that, you know, will never go away in your mind.
That game 2 in '92 where they kicked Starks out of the game because he told Mike that he was going to slap him on the wrist. Remember, Mike had the sprained wrist.
Yeah,
and Mike was like, "Ref, he talking about he going to slap me on the wrist." Is that true, Mike?
Yeah. Ooh. So for that, yeah. So for that, you know, fans can be like, they can point to that, but
yeah,
you know, the league gonna look at you and like, I didn't tell you to hire Isaiah. Yeah. You did that.
Do you regret the Knicks not convincing Isaiah Thomas to play for them in '93 after the torn Achilles?
I think about it from time to time, you know, in my tortured existence for '94. and it, he said some things about Magic at the time,
Yeah.
and Magic was Riley's guy,
Yeah.
and they just couldn't smooth that surface.
Yeah, they couldn't get over.
Yeah, because really and truly, he would have been a Riley type of player.
Yeah, he'd have been perfect.
He, who would you have wanted throwing blows, for you, you
Isaiah,
know?
yo, who motivates team of all the NBA players I've ever seen in my life, bro? Right? Of all the players I've ever seen in my life, nobody can rally. Nobody that I've ever seen rallied the troops more than Isaiah Thomas, bro.
That would have been everybody. I've said this before in the past. Everybody would have fell in line.
Yep. Yep.
Ewing would have had to have fallen in line,
Yep. Yep.
but not falling in line into a sense of he's taking over the team, but the leadership, like he's going to be out there
Dudes
front
go to
center.
battle for
He's going to
Isaiah,
be
bro.
he's going to be out there front center for you.
Right.
And in them clutch moments where you know he's going to take that shot and hit that shot, or the game won't have to get that close to those clutch moments because he was that nice offensively.
Can I give you my top 3 what ifs all time at point guard for the Knicks? Since we here.
Of course you can, sir.
All right, so number 1 clearly is Isaiah because y'all see I brought him up, right? Clearly Isaiah. Number 2 though is going to surprise you. You remember what at the end of the 1990 season, or I think it's 91, 90 or 91. I can't remember exactly, but it's the year that Boston went to a backcourt of Sherman Douglas and D Brown,
Mm-hmm.
and they had John Bagley as their third guard.
Mm-hmm.
I think their fourth guard was a dude named Dennis Johnson. And Dennis Johnson finished that season, and I think he retired. Right?
Right.
What I would have done if I was the Knicks, I would have at least talked to that man about coming in and being a mentor for two young point guards we had on the roster. Right? I would have at least considered going in that direction. Because nobody can tell me well, no, man, Dennis Johnson was too old, man. The alternative is Maurice Cheeks. Really? You gonna tell me Dennis Johnson too old, but then go get Mo Cheeks? Right? And then nah, man, both of them too old. The alternative to those two is Doc Rivers. And then the alternative to Doc Rivers is Derek Harper. I mean, listen, if we're going down this road of a veteran point guard that's just there for their presence, to play limited minutes, to groom future stars of the league, I think I would have did that. I think I would have of started Mark Jackson, have Dennis Johnson coming off the bench, him and Rod Strickland. I would have looked at playing Dennis Johnson off ball. Remember, he started in the NBA as an off guard, right? He started in Seattle. Him, downtown Freddie Brown, and I keep forgetting the other guard. I always forget the other guard. I can't remember who the other guard is. But anyways, we didn't need Dennis Johnson for offense, right? All we needed with Dennis Johnson for was defense. Remember, he was all NBA defense numerous years, and he should have probably made it more years than that. Right? Especially those Phoenix years. Right? My thing is I think we should have at least considered Dennis Johnson. And the other one is I tell the story all the time. You already know who number 3 is. Number 3 is Norm Nixon. When the Lakers were trying to give away Norm Nixon because they wanted Magic Johnson to be the full-time playmaker in the backcourt, guard and all that stuff. And they like, yo, your wife worked in New York. She worked down the street on the TV show that come on Thursdays at 8:00. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can reunite together in the city and all that stuff. And y'all can have Norm Nixon and Spencer Haywood. Like, you know what I'm saying? We already had Spencer Haywood. He didn't like it here. He left. So
I'm,
whatever.
I'm gonna give you a name, and it's not a vert person. It's not that I disagree with some of the things that you said. I thought, to be honest, I thought DJ was kind of washed by then.
Right.
You
Right.
know, but I get it. You know, him, you
Watch as
know,
a
could have
starter
been.
or watch as an NBA player.
I think he was maybe washed as an NBA player by then.
Okay. Okay.
You know, because remember, guys didn't really play past year 12, 13, you know, guys didn't really play that long. And by the time 1990 comes around, 89,
Guards,
90
yeah,
comes
guards
around,
definitely didn't. Guards,
especially guards,
they definitely did.
he had been through a lot of wars.
He was in the
He'd been,
playoffs just about every
yeah,
year.
yeah, he'd been to a whole lot of wars. So
Right.
I'm not going to kill them for a move like that. Here's a move that, because I was at this draft when they drafted Greg Anthony. No disrespect to Greg. Terrell Brandon is drafted right there, one slot ahead of Greg Anthony. And if you remember those like 5-6 years after being drafted, Terrell Brandon was like at the top core of one of the best point guards in the
He might
game.
have been the best point guard in the league. He might have
Yeah.
been, and was that like 95? He might have been. He might
They
have been
draft
in there.
yeah, they drafted him, I think. No, they drafted him, I think that's 92,
No,
92,
no, I'm talking about
92.
the year 95. He might have been the best point
Oh
guard.
yeah, he was right there. He was
Yeah,
right there at the very top.
yeah,
But
because
I was at
the old guys were leaving, and the young
yeah,
guys hadn't taken over yet.
I was
It was
right.
for
I
those
was at that draft.
just for a point of reference. What I'm talking about is the time frame between Tim Hardaway, Kevin Johnson, Mark Price, and there's a gap, and then there's Stephon Marbury and all the other guys that are coming in. But there's a little stitch of time where Terrell Brandon might have been that guy, might have been the man.
Yeah, because I think I remember Sports Illustrated doing an article just on that, and
Right.
him being on the cover is like, is he the best point guard in the game?
Yeah, yeah.
And I was at that draft, and I remember just I liked Greg Anthony at UNLV,
Right.
right? But I wanted Brandon. I was like, and they were like, the Knicks were like really locked in on him as being that guy. But as so many times in our history, we are unable to make that trade in the draft to be able to move up a slot or two to get that guy that we know we want.
Right.
We know he's our guy. And
Right.
that one was vivid in my head. And I'm like, wow, we missed out. Because Greg comes in and immediately they put Greg in a platoon situation with him and Mark Jackson.
Yep.
Right. And a lot of times he was the one that was closing the games until it got to the playoffs when it was like, you know what? Mark is definitely the better fit. Mark is the all-star or the previous all-star. He has more experience. So Mark in that playoff series and stuff was the guy. But it could have been a better transition if you was able to get Brandon.
Bro, if we drafted Terrell Brandon, I think we win championships.
Because you're with Ewing, because in 94, Ewing is what, 29, 30. You get Brandon like right around that time, 2 years in. You're
Right.
on a nice, he's 7 years older still, but he's young enough, to need a guy like
We
that.
call it backfilling the roster. So you backfilling the roster with cheap talent, right? Because a first round pick, well, they made a lot of money back then, but because there was no first round pick slotting like it is right now. But
that pick, the Greg Anthony pick, if memory serves me correctly, that was the highest pick the Knicks had for some time.
for a long time, yeah.
Yeah, because I think that pick is like number 11 or something like that.
Yeah.
Because Brandon goes at the Cleveland at 10, and the Knicks are at 11, or it's like 10, 11, or 11 or 12. I know they're back to back,
Right.
but and then for another like stretch of 8-9 years or whatever, the Knicks are not drafting anywhere near that because of them winning.
They drafted another dude in that same draft, right?
I can't remember if they
Was it
did.
Hubert Davis? Or did they draft Hubert Davis and Monty Williams and Charlie Ward in the same year?
I think that was it.
Was it? It might have been Greg Anthony and Monty Williams, and then Charlie Ward and Hubert Davis.
Could be. I can't remember that order, but that's what I think of on never was point guards. Besides them not getting Steph Curry and
Right.
We already know what happened there. So it's not for me. It's not a case of golly gee, we're just bad luck. No, I look at it as like we've just had wrong people in place. Whether you want to blame Dolan or not, okay, I can go with that narrative as well.
Right. I think it's a combination of all. With me, when you say stuff, I like to be direct and to the point. I hate to hedge on both sides. Right. You know how sometimes you'll say something and people be like, I don't know. I think it's kind of both. I don't like hedging. Right. I like being direct to you when you say something. Right. In this case, though, I honestly feel like I have to hedge in both directions. The Terrell Brandon thing, definitely. Right. Definitely should have been something considering.
Because he's not going to know anything about that. That's like really internal, your day-to-day basketball operations decisions.
No,
he wouldn't have known Terrell Brandon. Terrell Brandon walked in his office and kicked his feet up.
Terrell Brandon could have had a name badge on.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Terrell Brandon on his chest.
If he knows who Terrell Brandon is, there's a problem in the organization.
Right. But the reason why I say that is I can't be hypocritical, right? Because I said the same thing about the 96 draft. Remember I said I beat the drum about the Knicks having 3 first-round picks in the draft, and you take 2 dudes people couldn't point out in a police lineup and John Wallace, when you could have traded all 3 of those picks to Charlotte to draft Kobe. You could have took all 3 of those picks and moved up 6 spots and drafted Kobe Bryant. Right, but we didn't. We could have used all 3 of those picks and moved up 4 spots to draft Steve Nash. We could have used all 3 of those picks and moved up 1 spot to draft Jermaine O'Neal, but we didn't.
It's the Jermaine O'Neal thing that gets me. It's the Jermaine O'Neal thing that gets me because
when
they didn't.
Forwards are old. You could have drafted Jermaine O'Neal and put him on the bench.
They were just happy to get Wallace because Wallace is player of the year, and
he should have been a top 7 pick, by the way.
As a value pick, to draft Wallace at 16, 17, or wherever they drafted him. Yeah, but you should be thinking to yourself like, why is he falling like this? Why is he falling like this?
Mock drafts had that man going 10 to the Golden State Warriors, and then Golden State drafted Todd McCullough.
At the very least, I didn't think he was gonna fall past 10.
He shouldn't have fell past 10.
But here's the thing: I was never a Wallace guy.
Oh, St. John's! Why y'all be?
I was never a Wallace guy. Wallace reminded me of like Big Dog Light.
He reminded me of the dude Walter Berry. That's who he reminded me of. Now, I know what you're about to say. I'm not talking about the style of play and the body type. That's not what I'm talking about. I know who Walter Berry is, right? Trust, I watched St. John's suck for a long time, bro. You know what I'm saying? I know who Walter Berry is, right? What I'm saying is not his. I'm talking about his impact on a winner. You know how we always have the conversation about Uncle Freddie. Do you want Damian Lillard? Nah, I'll pass. Do you want? Why you always say Chris Webber's not a Hall of Famer? Because I know. I had a conversation last night, bro. I don't think I think Chris Webber is a stat patter, bro. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. Right?
I think he's a Hall of Famer. I just don't think he's. I don't think he's great.
Nah, he
ain't. I think he's a Hall of Famer.
Nah, he ain't a Hall of Famer, bro. Well, you know what? Yes, he is, because Chauncey Billups just got in the Hall of Fame. So yeah, he a Hall of Famer.
He's a Hall of Famer because Yao Ming is a Hall of Famer. And you know how I feel about that?
Because Bill Bradley's a Hall of Famer.
Bill Bradley has 2 championships. Okay?
A first ballot Hall of Famer. He,
Dos.
Bill Bradley is no disrespect to Dollar Bill because Knicks fans love him. I like Cassie Russell. I like Walt Frazier. Right? Like if you told me off this current Knicks roster, if you told me off this current Knicks roster that Josh Hart was going to make the Hall of Fame, right? I'm like, yeah, he was a Knick. Okay. He got up to a slow start. So did Bill Bradley. They got up to a slow start in their career initially, and now, whatever. Right. But my thing about Chris Webber is from day one, when you heard that man's name, he was surrounded by talent. You can't name one time in Chris Webber's career where the roster was not absolutely stacked. Right?
Well, they weren't stacked in Washington.
Oh, what? So Rasheed Wallace wasn't a player? Juwan Howard?
Well, I think they only played together
Ben Wallace?
I think they only played together that 1 year, and nobody knew about Ben Wallace.
Bro,
But
come on.
to your point, though, he did have Rod Strickler. Rod was on that team. It was
Right.
Rod.
And Calvert Cheney. What do we
Well, come on, stop it. Let's not act like Calvert
the original
Cheney.
RJ Barrett.
Let's not act like
Cheney, the original RJ Barrett. Yeah.
Damn, I think RJ a little better than Calvert
Nah,
Cheney.
damn.
Damn.
I think both of them.
Damn, Freezy.
Nah, both of them are good players, bro.
Calvert Cheney was, just the left-handed, pretty jump shot. That was it.
I said he was a left-handed RJ Barrett.
That was it. That was it. Calvert Cheney's choir boy with 5 heartbeats. That's Calvert Cheney.
Yeah.
That's Calvert Cheney. That's it.
I got you. But my point though is think about this. When's the first time you heard Chris Webber name ever?
At the McDonald's. I knew of him in high school.
So his high school team was stacked. And so for a lot of us, the first time we heard of him was the McDonald's All-American game.
Yeah, somewhere around there. But you could see he was physically dominant.
Bro.
He was a man.
Right.
He'd been a man physically for a long time.
What did he go to? Day one in college. What college did he go to?
They went to Michigan.
The Fab Five, a stacked roster.
He rolled in with a stacked roster.
Right. And then he got drafted.
But individually though, just talk about him as a talented ball player.
I know. I'm getting to a point though.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to get to.
Oh, my bad.
I just want to get to a certain point, right? So the first time you saw him play for real, is the Fab Five, right? And then he gets drafted by the Orlando Magic, who at the time had Dennis Scott, Nick Anderson, and Shaquille O'Neal, the reigning Rookie of the Year. But they trade him to Golden State, who had, think about this, bro. He could have played with Shaq, Dennis Scott, and Nick Anderson, right? Right? And maybe they sucked, maybe they didn't, right? But instead, they trade him to Golden State, right? For Penny Hardaway and a bunch of first-round picks, right? On that team in Golden State, there was Tim Hardaway, Chris Mullin, Latrell Sprewell. That roster was stacked. Then he goes to Washington to a stacked roster, and then he gets traded for Mitch Richmond and goes to Sacramento to another stacked roster. And and we talk about Chris Webber, and I'm gonna get back to the Knicks talk, but I just want to draw a line so that we can appreciate Knicks players more, because sometimes I think we downgrade Knicks and lift other players up, right? My thing is with Chris Webber went to Sacramento, and he was surrounded around talent there. But the point that I'm making is through all of that stuff, Chris Webber may have been the reason why all those teams lost. The game 7 against the Lakers where he choked, bro. The games, come on, the game 7 against the Lakers, bro. I mean, I know he wish he can do that over, right? But man, come on, bro. Y'all got him on the ropes. All y'all got to do is hit free throws. And Vlade, all you got to do is catch a basket. If Vlade don't fumble the ball out of bounds, then I think Sacramento is in the NBA Finals, right? But every time you see Chris Webber, he is choking and then making 1,000 excuses why it's not his fault.
Okay. Now let me now add some nuance to this a little bit. When Weber gets to Golden State, he gets there because Nelson always needed a big man in
Right.
his small man operation, right?
Right.
Somehow, some way, Golden State gives him a opt-out clause after the first year.
That's stupid. It was stupid.
This is your overall number one
Yeah.
pick, the overall number one
Yeah.
pick
Yeah.
that you traded for,
Yeah.
right?
Three
So,
first round picks and
yes,
Kenny Hardaway.
yes, that you traded for. This is something that people don't talk about enough of.
Right.
The
Right.
stupidity of Golden State and the
Right.
stupidity of other teams as we're making correlations to, valuing da 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 da. Look at this team's stupidity right here.
Right. Right. Right.
They give him a out after 1 year.
Right.
Nelson and them alienate him. Somehow, some way, things go wrong with him and Nelson.
Right.
They then trade him to, is it to Washington? He goes to first?
Yeah. Washington. Yeah.
He goes to Washington. I'm going to be fair. He was a young guy in Chocolate City.
Salute to Chocolate City.
Salute to Chocolate
Mambo
City.
sauce on everything.
I'll be fair. He's a young guy in then Chocolate City. It ain't Chocolate City no more, but it was then Chocolate City.
Right.
And he doesn't handle it well.
No.
I can give you that. But Washington as a team and an organization was like they've always been in some kind of flux.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But they get him there as that kind of, who's not going to want to have Chris Webber at 22, 23 years old as a centerpiece of your organization? You still have, one of the best point guards in the game. Then, Hot Rod, Rod Strickland is there. So you have a semblance of, this we could really build off of this. Right. It goes wrong. He then goes out to Sacramento.
Yep.
You remember Sacramento at that time? Sacramento was not worth thinking about.
Right.
Bad.
Right.
He helps to revitalize basketball, or better yet, for a first time, bring some kind of semblance of a force to Sacramento. They never had that before.
Right.
Back when even were the Kansas City Kings, remember? That's where they came from.
Right.
They never had that. No one cared about basketball there.
Right.
Chris Webber put basketball on the map out there, so we have to remember that.
Yep.
Okay? Along with Jason Williams, and they started making pieces and whatever. So I get it that he failed.
Stojakovic
and Page and all of them. But it was Webber who was a foundation.
Okay.
Right? So,
Brad Miller.
Dude, they had a team that should have beat the Lakers, and I you're right.
They choked,
he fails. They choke in that moment. He fails in the biggest parts of his career. He fails, but I still think he's a very good ball player, and I definitely think he's a Hall of Famer.
I think he's a Hall of Famer based on the people that are already in the Hall of Fame.
Too.
Christian Laettner is in the Hall of Fame twice.
Well, once definitely. Twice, no.
Remember, the Dream Team is inducted as a team in
yes. Yes. So he's in
so Christian Laettner is in the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
With the Dream Team, and he's in the Hall of Fame because of his college accolades at Duke.
Yes.
Remember, it's not the NBA Hall of Fame; it's the James Naismith Hall of Fame.
I mean, if you're gonna get it for being a hop along, for being a part of the bus.
If it was you and I, we'd be proud of that.
I'm all in that. I'm all in that picture. I'm all in that picture. I got my best prison post.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not leaving me out of that photo. No, no,
Nah,
no.
man.
No. So who's he again? Did he play? Yeah, that was me against
Anthony,
Angola.
who?
That was me against Angola.
Uncle who? Yo,
You ain't see
Uncle
me?
Freezy got his entire name on the back of his jersey. Uncle Freezy, aka such and such, he
The,
got his
the
entire name on the back of his jersey.
AKA Jersey's own.
Yes,
Not even
all of
Jersey's own.
it.
It's AKA Jersey's own. Yeah, look. You
Yes,
ain't seen me? Shit.
all of that on the back of that jersey.
No,
Yes,
so
sir.
I'm not mad at him. I'm not mad at Leighton
Yeah,
being
man.
in there twice. But
Yeah,
to Weber, to finish him on Weber, I get it. And you're right. And you're right. When we think about Weber, but here's the thing though, Freezy. Like I said, he starts something in Sacramento.
okay.
Sacramento would have been the equivalent of what New Orleans was, right?
It still
Now
is. Yeah.
follow me to my parallel.
Right.
At least Sacramento, he was able to get Sacramento to a place of, now when you look at Sacramento and their re-emergence or whatever, you can say, wow, they started from boom. When Randall was in New Orleans, it was like he really wasn't there
Right.
because Anthony Davis is there,
And he hurt. AD got hurt too.
right? You
Right.
got Holiday was there.
Right.
Um, Boogie had just left as a free agent or whatever. I can't remember
Now,
how
he
Boogie.
was out for the season.
All right, Boogie's out for season. So Randall is there to. That's when I really saw Randall to really started getting his game together. I think that season or the season after he averages like 19
Right.
19 and 9.5 or something. And I was like, oh wow, Randall has really improved.
Right.
Okay.
He just needed a shot.
Right. But he doesn't stay there with them.
Right.
Okay. To build and take on that shouldering what it is down there, because why? Basketball is dead down there. No one
Right.
cares
But
about
remember
basketball.
on the roommates podcast, Randall was like he couldn't stay because at the time he was a free agent, they had just drafted Zion #1. Right. So you already know if they drafted a dude at your position #1, you can't stay because you ain't gonna get playing time. You're not gonna get your chance. Remember, AD had been telling him the whole time, based on the roommates podcast. Anthony Davis was like, "Yo, bro, I'm out of here." He had been telling him that the whole time, right? And so if Anthony Davis is leaving, what's the point of you staying? And then come the Knicks knocking, like, "Hey, bro,
I mean,
you come here, we'll give you an opportunity."
yeah, but Davis leaving would have given you more time to shine.
But they drafted Zion, bro, is what I'm saying. Those two
But
things happened simultaneously.
yeah, but they also traded for what's the name and paired him with Zion. They also traded on from the Lakers. Remember they did that. What's the young man?
Yeah. The new Lakers were coming in. Yeah,
Right. They also brought in the new Lakers. So
yeah,
it wasn't like there wasn't a necessary place for him per se.
yeah. They got their they did that trade 4 days after Randall left.
Oh,
You know
yes.
what I'm saying? That's what Randall was saying on the roommates
Yes, yes,
podcast
yes,
was
yes,
was
yes.
when they drafted Zion. They drafted Zion. Anthony Davis was still there officially until 4 days later they traded and
Right.
so
Right.
Randall signed or Randall agreed to terms. It's not official till January 1st. But all these things official at the league at the calendar July 1st, right? Anthony Davis officially goes to the Lakers. The new Lakers officially come in. Zion is officially a Pelican, and Randall is officially a Knick.
I
All
read
of
the president. But it's a good, the more I think about it, it's a good parallel between him and Weber, right?
right,
Because when he comes here, he pretty much resurrects basketball here in New York.
right,
So
right.
you have to give him that. All the pieces that are here now that we like, they're after Randall.
After Randall, I'm gonna say this, chat. Don't get frustrated with me when I say this. I'm gonna say this in a historical sense, right? Not in a favoritism sense. Julius Randle, upon signing, was a foundation piece. whether you like Randall or not. But everything before Randall, Noah Vonleh, Henry Ellenson, Kyle O'Quinn, um, um, Derek Williams, Michael Beasley, all of that is pre-Randall. After Randall is R.J. Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, Iggy's Brezdakis, Obi Toppin, Kevin Knox. Even though Kevin Knox was drafted before that, but all of it, you know, what I'm saying all of this is where we are. All before Randall is the past. At Randall is the present, and might be the future. Right. But my point is when you look at people's numbers on basketball reference, right? Also look at the pace of play, right? When you look at Chris Webber's numbers, look at Chris Webber's numbers on teams that were running up and down the floor. The Golden State Warriors, the Sacramento Kings. When you look at Chris Webber's 23 and 11, understand that they were zooming up and down the floor. And when you look at Randall's 20 and 10 or 20 and 9.9, 20 and 10, you have to look at Randall's offenses were very slow-paced teams. I'm talking about with the Knicks, not with New Orleans. In New Orleans, his numbers were inflated because they ran up and down the floor also in New Orleans while he was there. Right. But as a Knick, the 5 years with the Knicks were not a pace of play team. But AD, listen, man, I gotta get out of here. I gotta go to Lowe's is trying to hit my card up, man. I gotta go in there and tell him I'm Rocky Lockridge.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Man. So what did you think about what do you think about Pitbull Cruz and Rolly?
I think Rolly may need to hang it up.
Wow.
You know, before he becomes, because from here on, the state of, because I'm talking about the current state of boxing. I'm not talking about boxing that I know of, and a second loss is a second loss, then you can come back from that, blah, 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 blah. He's only going to be now matched with like the up and coming guys.
Oh, he in the Ernie Shavers category? Well, he'll never be the champ, but he'll always be a test for the up and coming champ.
He may be that now going forward.
Yeah.
You know, you remember
Virgil Hill? You remember Virgil Hill?
Yeah, what's my the Cuban Mike Tyson? He was like the lighter divisions, you know what I'm talking about, really muscular. His name is skipping me right now, but at one point in time he was, I mean, he's a way better career than Rolly, but at one point in time he was that guy until he took a couple of losses, and then they just started to bring him down and down, matching him with like the guys who are coming up.
Hey, getting knocked out takes some of your soul with you, bro.
Rolly's just not that good.
Yeah,
you know I'm saying Rolly's a running back. Right. He's a running back in the boxing ring. Rolly's not that. He's not that good.
His hands are nice, though. He's nice off the hands, bro.
Yeah, but he doesn't see the punches coming.
Yeah, I mean, no boxer is perfect though.
No. I don't mean that, Freezy. I mean, look at his style. His style is.
See, the thing about
that's his style.
The thing about being a pressure boxer, bro, is you have to have a chin. You can't push forward if you don't have a chin.
Okay,
that's just about what it is.
Was that the worst knockout you ever seen? No. He got.
The worst knockout I ever saw is Hearns and Duran.
Yes,
that's the worst.
Was that Hearns and Duran? Nowhere near it.
Yeah, no.
And was that how Davis knocked him out? No.
Yeah, Davis. I don't think Tank Davis even hit that hard. I think he is
pinpoint accuracy.
Yeah.
Especially with the Rolly, you know. So and that's. I like Rolly. Rolly gives interest, right? Because of his, who he is as a character and stuff like that. But Rolly's hard. Rolly's not. No, he's not beating any of these guys that people are putting their names up and stuff like that. He's not beating those guys.
Hey, bro, you need to get a boxing channel, bro. Stop playing.
Well, you need to get a boxing channel. Stop,
bro. Man, we already got like 2 channels already, bro. Yeah,
you're the hardest working man in show business. But anyway,
hard with 2 channels, bro.
Let's get up out of here. We don't know where this has started, but we know where it ended with you yet again. Thank you very much for joining Uncle Freezy and myself. Look for us in the whirlwind. Garvey.
Garvey, y'all already know where it is. Yeah. Look out your window. Yeah. Look out your window. Knicks fans is on your block. Y'all know the Knicks run the city. Pull them shades back. Look out your window. Look down there on the block. That's Knicks fans right there. It's about that time. It's about that time of the week where you get ready for your work week.